When I was a kid, I used to think that work is like spending my entire day doing something from my past and getting enough money to live. Work is something that most people hate and they are slaving away, losing their time and energy that they won't get back in the future. But I want to tell you the truth. Most people feel negative about work because they don't work on something that pushes their mind into the unknown and fulfills their purpose. They just follow the social programming, the education system, and the old way to live. Go to school, get good grades, and get a job. So over the last 3 years, I've been making content, building my physique while studying at university. I know what you feel when you come back from your work. You feel tired and no energy. Well, I experienced it myself, but I have no excuse to work on my content creation and still lifting weights to build my physique. In the modern age, it's not about how many hours you spend that correlates with the results you will get. It's how you leverage every hour you get and spend that effectively. So let's dive into the video. So I've been creating content for 2 years now. I've developed my speaking, writing, and marketing skills. I've learned more about human psychology and how to influence people at scale than I ever did at university. And my work schedule is so simple. Every morning, I spend 2 hours either writing, recording, or editing content. And the rest of the day, I think of the ideas I need to share to my next content. You know, people overcomplicated the idea of work. They sell the dream that you need to work 12 hours a day and then 3 months from now you will get burnout. And the truth is, most people don't do that because it is impossible to maintain 12 hours a day of work. In today's economy, it's not about how much time you spend doing work. It's about how effectively and efficiently you can get results in less time. It's no longer about how much time you spend on working. It's about the quality of results you create from the time you invest. You think working hard means doing more tasks in a day, neglecting everything else, and trading all your time for money. But the truth is, working hard is about how you can spend less and less time in a day, but you can get better results. And I'll be honest, I still struggle with this myself because I enjoy working long hours. Sometimes I spend too much time researching content that doesn't actually improve the quality of my work. So if you think that you're working hard enough, you're probably not. Just because you're spending more hours doesn't mean you'll get better results. You need to work like a lion, not a donkey. It's better to have big focus for a few hours and spend the rest of the day recovering than to be in a constant idle mental state thinking that more time equals more output. The education system makes people believe that learning is all about memorizing and studying for exams. But the truth is, you experience pain in life and learn through your mistakes. The education system was designed to mass produce workers, not thinkers. It is hard for people to think critically and being creative into their work. So every habit you have today is the results of behaviors you've repeated in the past. You feel lazy because you've grown to hate working and avoid putting in the effort. You assume it should take less time to improve, and that is why you keep procrastinating. If you want to get better at your work, you need to unlearn all the nonsense you were taught in school, because work is something you will be doing for the rest of your life. Not just because you want to make money from it, but because it is the highest leverage action you can do. Think of work as your life's project. The only way to make progress is to keep working. You don't stop after a small win like a promotion, a higher salary, or a better team. You keep improving. You learn how to work better. This is what the education system doesn't teach you. If everyone had a healthy, empowered mindset about work, they will all start their own business and no one will want to be an employee. So stop being lazy like you were back in school. Your work should bring more fulfillment than confusion. Be grateful you get to put your time and energy into advancing society, not just chasing income for yourself. So now, let's move to the first principle on how to work harder. I hate when people saying that they're working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and barely get enough sleep. Because I don't believe any human can do that without feeling burnt out. Work is something you must do consistently every single day. So to avoid burnout and feeling like that you're not making progress, you need a better system. It's foolish to think that just putting in more hours will help you outcompete others. It's better to have a sustainable 6-month period where all you do is focus on your work, then take a full month off to recover with zero work involved. Because if you can't sustain your work for a long period of time, you will experience burnout. And when burnout hits, it can take weeks or even months for you to recover. It's better to avoid burnout entirely than to be forced into taking a full month off just to recover. So here's how to work harder. Limit your work to 4 hours a day. After you cross that limit, stop. Anything beyond that is usually just copy or procrastination disguised as productivity. Make your work the top priority of the day. If you have a normal job, wake up earlier and use those early hours to build your future through focused deep work. So it's no longer about the duration of the work. Don't follow what most people think, that more hours equals more results. And most people still follow the advice. They work jobs that require to put in 8 hours 5 days per week just to get paid money and trading their time that they won't get back in the future. And the truth is, they're not actually working hard. They're spending hours doing repetitive tasks that an AGI could probably finish in an hour. That's why you need to limit your work hours. You don't want to have long, flexible hours. You want a strict 4-hour window. This is when you enter focus state, where all you do is just working on something that is meaningful. So I want you to keep this in mind. Working hard doesn't give you more results. Working smart, dedicating fewer hours with intense focus is what actually moves you forward. So now let's move to the second principle on how to work in flow. Entrepreneurs, bankers, and investors work in flow. Employees, staff, and office workers often work in chaos. That's the difference from someone who makes millions from their business than just someone who works for the business. Most people don't work in flow. They work in distraction, stress, and pressure. That's why so many people hate their jobs. They don't enjoy the work because they never experience flow. I genuinely love making content. When I wake up in the morning, I do the work. When I'm at the gym and I get the ideas to make content, I take time and write down the ideas. I love recording myself, explaining concepts in detail, and sharing my knowledge online. I work in flow, and most entrepreneurs do. So there is no secret trick to experience flow. Just follow a simple rules when you work. So this is how to work in flow. Open your laptop, go full screen, and put your phone away. That's how I do it, and many people do it too. It's possible to get into flow within minutes, especially if you start working right after you wake up. Because I've tried doing work when I get distracted, it's miserable. It's not fulfilling, and I constantly feeling anxious. And not every hour in a day is equal. And that's why you need to work first thing in the morning, because there will be fewer distractions and you can actually focus for 3 to 4 hours. So this is how you get into flow consistently. You do 4 hours of deep work and it feels like just 30 minutes or an hour. You become one with the work that is the peak of productivity. So if you want to get into flow, start working right after you wake up. Put your screen in full focus and do nothing else. So I want you to keep this in mind. Not every hour is the same. You will enter flow faster if you start work immediately after waking up and avoid doing anything else. So now let's move to the third principle on how to shift from obligation to opportunity. In the first 3 months of making content, I treat my work like an obligation. But after those 3 months, I started feeling exhausted and less motivated to continue. I made it non-negotiable because I used to believe that if I could do the work, regardless of how I felt, I will achieve my goals faster. But this is the truth. When you treat your work as an obligation, you make less progress than if you treat it as an opportunity. And every hour you get in a day is an opportunity to change. So make your work as an opportunity, not just working like the normal people do, doing 9-to-5 job. When you start seeing work as something fun, it no longer feels like an obligation. You need to clock in at 9 a.m. and clock out at 5 p.m. So this is how to make your work as opportunity. Set one big specific goal. Make it detailed, like wanting to earn $5,000 per month from your work within 3 years. Forget about the outcomes that give you fake dopamine, like living in a $1 million penthouse, driving 5 sport cars, and drinking Red Label. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy those things if you can't afford them, but focusing more on the outcome will distract you from the work that actually matters. You need to put in the work. Treat each day as an opportunity built toward making a good income, better than a normal job 3 years from now. That way, you can have more time to improve your health and support your family financially. After you meet your basic human needs, then you can think about the lifestyle you want to experience. Most people focus on the outcome they want from work, not the hard work required to get there. And that's why not everyone is successful. So I want you to keep this in mind. You just need one specific goal. Make it detailed, give it a deadline, and that's how you start making real progress in your life. See your work as an opportunity, not obligation. People who see it as an obligation often end up in a 9-to-5 job. It's not about how much information you get from this video, it's about how you can implement that so you can see 10x results by the end of this month. Because it's a waste of time if you know all of this information. The only thing you need to focus on is your progress. That's the first thing you need to think about after you wake up. I've been practicing these principles and I see huge results. I develop my skills, speaking, copywriting, video editing, and marketing. All of this because I know what words that improve my skills in a long period of time. If you just follow one principle I told you in this video, you'll make at least 1% progress today. But if you want to make the progress faster, I made a one-on-one program where I teach you how to build your focus so that productivity is no longer a problem and you can get your work done and 10x your results in the next 12 weeks. This is how Paulo and Sakat, students inside my program, have transformed their life forever. As a byproduct, they start making money online from their business. So click the first link in the description below. Also grab my $1 ebook if you want to learn my 10 learning lessons over the past 7 years, starting an online business as well as do self-improvement. Link in the description below. And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.